All right, today is day 9 of not masturbating. And I want to say that I noticed something today that I was thinking about. See, sometimes I'll have cravings to masturbate. I'll confess that right off the bat. But you know what? I have a craving to masturbate. I don't have a craving to go back to the habit. And I think that's a very important key distinction. Is a lot of people fixate on the one time they shot heroin and they felt really good. They fixate on the one cigarette that they had when they were with their best friends. They fixate on, you get the idea, right? The one time that they did something. It could be a soft habit as well, right? It could be they fixate on the one time they stayed up really late and something good happened, right? The question isn't if you want that shot of heroin or to stay up really late. The real question is, do you want to go back to that lifestyle? And that's the key point. As soon as I saw it in those lights, oh my God, I never want to masturbate again, right? And that's the key distinction to be made. Now, why do I hate the masturbating habit? Well, how would you feel if you had, let's say you had a friend who limited your creativity, made you not want to do things, made you lazy, it made it easy for you to stay home instead of going out to socialize with other people. I don't think most people would call that a friend, right? They might have had good times with that person, but they might have had good times indulging in that person. I don't think most people would consider that a friend. And that's what masturbating was to me, right? So for example, every Tuesday night I go to a Pokemon TCG event. And there's a girl there who's really interested in me. She doesn't know how old I am. That's the unfortunate part. I look very young for my age. And unless she also looks very young for her age, she's only like half as old as I am. And I'm thinking to myself, if I can keep my body young, maybe in 5-10 years, that might be an okay friend to have, right? And because she's very smart, I like to think of her as a modern-day Mary Curry, right? But unfortunately, a little bit too young just yet, right? So I need to keep my body young. I need to be like Buzz Lightyear and go around a planet that has a very high gravity field and then come back to Earth with her all grown up and I'm still 35 years old, right? That's what I need to do. Unfortunately, I don't have a device that could do that just yet. So instead, I'm going to try to keep my body young by, well, I like to call it a time shuttle. I'm flying on a time shuttle that uses baking chocolate as fuel. It does regular cleanses by not burning any fuel for 16 hours, right? Sometimes 40-some hours, right? And I'm riding on a time shuttle. I feel just fine, right? Go watch my video about the time shuttles. I also wrote an AI for the game of Century, Spice Road. And lately I've been doing a lot of long distance walks. You can see how tan I am right now. It's about 100 degrees out there, but I also tan with artificial lighting as well. I live out of my car right now, so it doesn't take all that many lights to really light up the car and tan myself, right? And see, if I were masturbating, I'd be content with that and not dealing with my problems. I had a little bit of a conflict at work, and I actually dealt with it instead of hiding out to masturbate, right? I had a problem with, I work at a tutoring center, I had a problem with several of the students sleeping during my class and causing distractions for everybody else. And the sleeping itself is bothersome enough, but what was even more bothersome is that here we are in Bellevue, Washington, where space is already very limited, and there's just enough seats for everybody, and they come here to sleep when somebody else might want to be studying, right? Not to mention, space is very cramped, and I only have about 1 or 2 feet to maneuver myself near the whiteboard. You know, within 2 feet, we got a student there, and it's really hurting myself, right? I don't have somewhere to set down my book. I don't have somewhere to maneuver, to not block the board. And I remember the first week of that job, I really loved working with the students, but I remember thinking to myself, God, did I take on a teaching job or did I take on some kind of construction job, right? See, another dream job that I thought about was to move to Wallace, Idaho and take a job mining silver or some other metal there, right? I'm surprised, though. I looked at what Wallace produces, and they have all sorts of metals, including lead, bismuth, cadmium, and all sorts of other stuff, but they don't have any of the nuclear elements, right? Uranium, plutonium. I'm a little bit surprised. But I remember thinking to myself, maybe I should go back to Wallace and take that job. It will be less straining on my back than teaching here. That's what I thought the first week of that job. I really did. But at the same time, I really loved interacting with these people. Right? I wouldn't get that kind of interaction over in Wallace. But now we had 2 students sleeping in there, and it upset me. And because I was already missing out on the masturbating, and I really needed to distract myself, I straight up told the students, I got to talk to you guys, because, it's one thing that you're sleeping in here, but you realize that there's not a whole lot of space to maneuver in this office. And I'm already breaking my back because I have to hold on to this book and do worksheets out of it. And there's not a whole lot of space to set the book down or to even move my body. And one of the students had tears in her eyes as I was saying this. And I told my boss the same thing. I thought for sure we had lost them, because the boss told me that, she has all sorts of extracurricular activities and and all that. And I thought, well, coming here to sleep isn't going to help her study the SAT, is it? And my boss said she was going to talk to her parents about this, and I thought for sure they were going to quit. Now, the next Monday, she came back with a lot of energy, and I thought, okay, well, maybe it helped. And then I learned they quit other activities in order to focus on the SAT math. And then later after class, I heard her parents talking to my boss about rearranging some furniture because some of the instructors don't have enough space. And I thought, there's no way I'm hearing what I'm hearing. I've never heard any of my clients advocate for me. But that's what happens when I quit masturbating and I open the door wide open, right? I go up to talk to my clients and my boss about uncomfortable situations at work. I have fun with a girl at a Pokemon TCG, even though she's a little bit too young for me. It's good to know her for future, right? And I took a flight in my time shuttle. I wrote a number of computer games, and it's all good. Do I miss masturbating? Yes, I miss masturbating. I don't miss the masturbation habit. Let's make that clear. And the habit is what you have to think about when you have the craving. And oh my God, let's go talk to my boss instead. Let's go meet somebody at the Pokemon TCG instead.